December 21st, 1989. Bucharest's Palace Square is packed with over 50,000 shivering Romanians. They didn't choose to be here. Factory workers were bussed in, students pulled from classrooms, all forced to attend what would become the most catastrophic political rally in history. For nearly a quarter century, Nicolae Ceausescu has terrorized Romania as its communist dictator. But cracks are showing. Days earlier in Timisoara, citizens rose up after authorities tried to arrest a brave pastor who dared criticize the regime. Ceausescu's forces responded with bullets, but the spark of revolution had been lit. Now, desperate to project strength, Ceausescu stages this massive rally, broadcasting it live across the nation. He believes this show of support will crush the growing rebellion. He's about to learn how wrong he is. As Ceausescu emerges onto the balcony, thunderous applause fills the air. But look closer. The crowd stands frozen, like statues. Only the front rows move their hands. The cheering, it's fake. Pre-recorded audio blasting from hidden speakers throughout the square. Ceausescu begins his speech confidently, thanking rally organizers and praising party loyalty. But then, cutting through his words like a knife, real voices emerge from the back of the crowd. Screams, shouts, chaos. Someone's shooting. His wife Elena cries out in panic. They're storming the building, a security guard yells. The camera operator, following strict orders, immediately points toward the sky. But the damage is done. Demonstrators have smashed through the barriers and are surging toward the Communist Party headquarters where Ceausescu stands. Both Nicolae and Elena lean over the balcony, screaming at the crowd below to retreat. "This is sabotage," Ceausescu shouts, his composure completely shattered. Security forces manage to push back the demonstrators temporarily, but the illusion of control has been destroyed. Even as Ceausescu desperately promises pay raises and pension increases, it's too late. The crowd has seen through the facade. When the rally ends, instead of dispersing quietly, thousands flood Bucharest's streets. "Down with Ceausescu," they chant. "Freedom! Freedom!" Enraged, Ceausescu unleashes his full military might. Tanks roll through the capital, soldiers fire into crowds, snipers position themselves on rooftops. By dawn, so much blood covers the streets that fire trucks spray them clean with high-pressure hoses. But something extraordinary happens. As factory workers march toward the city center in massive columns, the very soldiers sent to stop them lay down their weapons and join the revolution instead. In the Communist Party building, panic spreads through an emergency meeting. Hundreds of thousands now surround the headquarters, breaking down doors, climbing stairs. Ceausescu realizes his 24-year reign is crumbling in real time. "Get the helicopter," he orders desperately. Minutes before revolutionaries reach the roof, both Nicolae and Elena are practically carried to a waiting helicopter by their bodyguards. Their faces are ghostly white with terror. Along with two officials and guards, they escape just as protesters storm the rooftop. The helicopter flies to Ceausescu's personal compound north of Bucharest. There, Nicolae frantically calls for military backup. The response is devastating. "You're on your own. No one's coming." They take off again, but radio chatter brings more bad news. All aircraft grounded. Any unidentified helicopters will be shot down. Forced to land on a remote road, the once mighty dictator now stands helpless with just his wife and two guards. They hijack a car driven by a bicycle mechanic named Nicolae Petrisor, who unknowingly becomes part of history. As they drive, radio reports confirm their worst fears. The revolution has triumphed in Bucharest. The mechanic, trying to help, suggests hiding at an agricultural institute, but the director there locks them in a room and calls the police. Within hours, both Ceausescus are arrested and taken to a military barracks. The new government, led by Ion Iliescu, moves with lightning speed to organize their trial. On December 25th, Christmas Day, an extraordinary military tribunal convenes. The charges are devastating: genocide, economic sabotage, and attempting to flee with over $1 billion in stolen funds. As prosecutors read the accusations, Nikolai actually laughs, a chilling sound that echoes through the courtroom. The trial lasts barely 2 hours, more theater than justice. Ceausescu refuses to recognize the court's authority, calling it illegal, but his words fall on deaf ears. The verdict is swift and final: death by firing squad, to be carried out immediately. Nikolai requests to die alongside Elena. The soldiers agree. When they try to bind their hands with rope, both resist defiantly, insisting they won't flee. But protocol demands restraint. In the prison courtyard, they're positioned against a concrete wall. Elena screams curses at the firing squad, while, according to some witnesses, tears stream down her face. Nikolai, showing unexpected dignity in his final moments, begins singing the Internationale, the communist anthem that had once been his party's rallying cry. The execution is swift. The next day, Romanian television broadcasts footage of their bodies as proof that the Ceausescu era has ended forever. By May 1990, Romania held its first free elections in over 50 years. The nation that had lived in fear for decades finally began its journey toward democracy, eventually joining NATO and the European Union. One staged rally, one moment of truth, breaking through layers of deception. Sometimes that's all it takes to topple an empire built on lies.